When you think about architects, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? A professional and stable career, the ability to design any building that your heart desires, and maybe even a little prestige? Let's be honest, growing up, many people, including myself, were drawn to architecture because it seemed like a pretty glamorous profession. But here's the catch. Nobody ever really talked about the financial side of being an architect. We weren't told about the long hours, the intense study requirements, and most importantly, the salaries. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Juice channel. My name is Justin and I've been studying architecture for 5 years in total, so 3 years in bachelor's and 2 years in master's, and I've also been in the working field for 3+ years now. So I've been around the profession for quite a bit. In today's video, I'm going to be breaking down what I see architects earn approximately in Australia, from the bottom entry roles to the more senior roles, the factors influencing pay, and how to make sure that you're getting what you're worth. Plus, I'll also be talking about the skills you gain outside of architecture school that can unlock opportunities far beyond architecture. Let's dive into the truth. Salary in architecture is considered to be one of those things that are really taboo and just don't get talked enough about. It's like this unspoken rule where everyone is simply naive and don't really know the path that they're putting themselves into, as nobody really ever told us what we will be making once we stepped out into the real world. But I also feel that students should be informed about salary benchmarks in general, as this could be a career path that we will be on for the next 30 to 40 years of our lives. Having this knowledge will make you make smarter career choices, negotiate better, and frankly, avoid settling for less than you deserve. So let's shed some light and get into the numbers. Also, I want to just preface this video that this is what I'm personally experiencing, and also through a little research that fluctuates around, but just wanted to give you a general idea anyways. Let's start at the beginning. Entry level. Imagine this. You're fresh out of university with a beautiful master's degree, excited to go out and change the world. At this stage, you're probably going to be looking at salaries that are around the 60,000 to the 65,000 mark. This is including superannuation, which is basically money put aside by your employer over your working life for you to live on when you retire. For Americans, this will be your 401k. So this number alone made me realize that as I was starting out, that this wasn't the glamorous picture that I imagined when I was a student. Architectural practices will also tend to use fancy words like award rates to entice students to join after they finish graduating. But the truth is, and I had to learn this the hard way, award rate is basically defined as the minimum wage that is legally determined by award classifications. So when a company offers you award rates, it just means that they're paying you minimum wage. But the reality is, at this early stage of your career, the focus is on building experience, not so much your bank account. That said, the firm you choose really makes a huge difference. From personal experience or from hearing what other people say, larger firms in huge cities like Melbourne or Sydney, with a large number of employees, tend to pay less as they technically award you with the prestige of using their name under your resume when you join them for work. But the upside is when you join one of these huge practices, you might fall under the trap of being pigeonholed to do repetitive tasks. Boutique firms often provide more hands-on opportunities, which also means more responsibility, but they also tend to pay you much better. So think strategically about what you personally want. Fast forward to a few years, you've learned the ropes, you survived the long nights, and now you're in your stride of becoming an experienced graduate or getting registered to become a certified architect. This stage typically covers professionals with around 3 to 7 years of experience, and it's significantly the turning point of your career. At this range, your salary will tend to fall between the 80,000 to 100,000 AUD mark, depending on your role, your specialization, and the location that you're at. But here's where the path starts to change. What you earn and how fast your earnings grow depends on a few factors. Number 1, specialization matters. Architecture is a broad field, and mid-level architects who specialize in specific areas like urban planning, sustainable design, heritage conservation, or technology tend to stand out and command higher pay. So for example, for sustainable design specialists, with the push of green buildings being so significant in today's era, architects with knowledge on energy efficient materials or certifications like Green Star here in Australia tend to earn more. And of course, the tech-savvy architects. Proficiency in tools like BIM, which is Building Information Modeling, or parametric design is currently in high demand. So if you're good at that, you'll be making yourself highly valuable to architecture firms that are trying to push the boundaries of innovation. The second point is the type of projects that you work on. The scale and the type of projects you're involved in would influence your pay. So mid-level architects working on highly profitable projects such as commercial developments or governmental projects tend to earn more than those solely focusing on residential builds. Unless of course your client is super rich and willing to pay you huge amounts of money. But technically the money goes to your bosses, not to you as an employee. So for example, A mid-level architect designing a boutique home may earn less, this is just may by the way, than one commanding a 50-story skyscraper somewhere in, I don't know, Sydney. Or architects involved in infrastructure projects like transportation hubs, community centers might also see higher pay due to the complexity of their work. The third factor would be the amount of responsibility that you have as your paycheck goes higher as well. As a mid-level architect, you're probably managing multiple projects at once, liaising with all your clients and consultants, or potentially mentoring junior architects. But to be honest, despite this additional workload, the jump in pay might not be proportional just yet. This can be frustrating, but it's also why building your niche, networking strategically, and negotiating your worth is so important. Remember, your mid-level years are a stepping stone. The skills, experience, and connections that you build will set you up for bigger roles and bigger paychecks in the future. But it's up to you to figure out what you want and how you're going to navigate through all of this. At the mid-level, the key is to stay proactive. Don't settle for autopilot. This is your chance to carve out your path, specialize, and prepare for senior roles down the line. Now let's move on to what the next step of the career will look like. Alright, senior architects. Those who've climbed the ladder, gained years of experience, and taken on leadership roles. Reaching this level is an incredible milestone, and it comes with the potential for significant financial rewards. On average, senior architects in Australia earn around 120 to 160,000 AUD, with some top-tier professionals earning over 200,000 in specialized or leadership roles. But what exactly defines a senior architect? And why do the salaries vary so much? Let's break it down. As a senior architect, you're no longer just designing, you're leading. These roles typically require around maybe 10 years plus of experience and a proven ability to manage teams and complex projects. So your responsibilities might include overseeing multiple projects simultaneously, managing teams of multiple architects, designers, and consultants, liaising with high-profile clients and stakeholders, the people that pay you, and making critical decisions about budgets, milestones, programming, and project execution. So your ability to balance creativity, leadership, and business acumen is what sets you apart and justifies higher pay. So within senior level architecture, specialization can make a significant difference. Here are a few high-paying senior roles and what they entail. Number 1, design directors. These people focus on creative leadership, shaping the vision of projects across the firm. Salaries here can easily exceed 200,000 AUD, especially in larger firms. Then you have your project managers. These people oversee large-scale or high-stake projects, ensuring that they are delivered on time and on budget. Strong organizational skills are key. And of course, there are the sustainability experts. Again, with the global push towards more greener, sustainable practices, senior architects specializing in sustainability or net zero design are in high demand. So your expertise in a niche area can elevate your value and earning potential significantly. From what I've seen at the senior level, many architects would choose to transition over to ownership or partnership within their firms. As a partner, your income is often tied to the firm's individual success, giving you a potential for higher earnings that far exceeds traditional salaries. But while the pay is higher, it comes with its own set of challenges that are even more serious than what you get as an entry-level or a mid-level architect. At this level, you're dealing with high-pressure situations. Clients and stakeholders often expect perfection, and with very tight deadlines. You tend to be working longer hours, as senior roles frequently demand more time and effort as compared to the mid-level roles, and you'll be responsible for people on the bottom line because your decisions would oftentimes affect the people below you. It's not all smooth sailing, but for those who thrive in leadership and strategy, it's a fulfilling next step for your career. Becoming a senior architect is more than just about the time served. It's about proving your ability to lead, to innovate, and drive results. So if you're aiming for these roles, focus on building a strong network, develop specialized skills, and showcasing your ability to handle complex situations. Now here's something I wish more people talked about. The skills you learn in architecture school aren't just limited for designing buildings. They can actually open up a ton of opportunities for you outside of architecture. Think about it, architecture school teaches you about problem solving, how to break down complex challenges into manageable situations, huge amounts of creativity, balancing aesthetics with functionality, a lot of technical skills, so mastering softwares like Rhino, Revit, the Adobe Suite, which are highly valued in other design fields as well. And lastly, project management, so handling deadlines, teams, managing people, and budgets. These skills make you adaptable to roles like product design or UI UX design, where you focus on the human experience, urban planning, expanding your scope to cities and communities, construction management. Now this is where I see a lot of my friends slowly transition as they finish their degree and worked in the architectural practice for a few years. and they're slowly going to this side of the build industry. And lastly, entrepreneurship. So starting your own design related business, leveraging your creativity and management expertise. So if you ever feel stuck or undervalued in traditional architectural roles, remember, you have options. Architecture school equips you with a powerful, diverse set of skills that can take you much further than you might think. Now let's talk about boosting your earning potential. Here are 3 actionable tips. Tip number 1. Upskill continuously. Stay ahead of the curve by mastering tools like BIM, exploring sustainable design. If you're interested in parametric design, you can go down that route, or maybe diving into emerging trends like AI architecture. Not sure how that would work, but that seems to be what's popping up right now. Tip number 2, network strategically. Join industry events. There's a lot of them going around in the city of Melbourne that I see. I should be joining more of them, but I'll get there. So connect with peers and build relationships with mentors and clients. That's very important. And tip number 3, negotiate confidently. Don't be afraid to ask for what you're worth. When discussing your salary, highlight your unique skills and past contributions. Make sure you jot them down in the notebook somewhere or on an Excel sheet so that when your annual review comes up, you would know exactly what you've done, and that could give you more leverage to be able to ask for a higher raise. And if your company is not willing to budge and give you what you need, don't be afraid to look elsewhere. It's honestly a cruel world out there, and you should always prioritize yourself first. Now, this might sound selfish, but for your own well-being, I think this is for the best. Remember that your career is a journey, so keep learning, evolving, and educating yourself. And that's the real picture about architecture salaries here in Australia. It's not always glamorous, but it's a rewarding path if you navigate it wisely. I've linked the video here discussing the harsh truths about studying architecture, so definitely give it a watch if you're thinking about it or already stepping foot into university. If this video gave you a more better insight into the financial side about architecture, give it a thumbs up, share it with a fellow architect or an architect in the making, and subscribe for more career insights. And hey, let's keep this conversation going. Drop a comment below with your thoughts. Did you feel like the industry was glamorized when you started? Have you explored opportunities outside of architecture? I'd love to hear your perspective. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.